Hi there, welcome to Let's Talk Tottenham. And oh dear, Tottenham never make it easy, do they? Almost out of the Carabao Cup before the second leg has begun, but by the skin of our teeth, not really sure how. We're just about in it. Two great guests who haven't been on here before, so I'm really excited about this. Ankit, who's a Chelsea fan, who's promised to be nice, and Colin, who you'll know, he's been on so many Tottenham streams. How are you doing, guys? I'll start with you, Ankit. You've got your channel yourself. It's in the description. Tell us a bit about it and how you're doing. I imagine fairly happy being that you're the only one on this stream who's in a good mood.
Sure. Certainly excited. First and foremost, thanks for having Almighty Blue
my
on
pleasure.
the channel. I've been following your channel for a while, and now it's basically high time, and this was a great excuse, and me in a good mood, like you said. But for sure, Almighty Blues FC, we are a fan channel for everyone to see. So hopefully, anyone watching out there does find some interesting content on my channel as well. Yes, we do reviews of Chelsea matches, but not just that, the entire EPL, the Champions League, and of course, we have some trivia shows. So anyone out there who's interested in trivia, do kind of message me. You can find me on Almighty Blues FC on Twitter, Instagram. But most importantly, it is basically the time of the season where it matters, and I'm just glad that Chelsea are coming back to form again. Touching wood as I'm speaking.
Excellent. And Colin, you've been on a load of Spurs channels. First time here. Great to have you on. You've got your own channel as well. Tell people a little bit about that.
Yeah, my channel is called Talking Ball, and it really started during COVID. It's just like a time to get people together and just kind of keep from going crazy and talk about the team that we all love. And so I have a show that's it's just a bunch of guys just basically kind of just talking. But I've recently added another member to the Talking Ball team, my friend Tiago, and he's kind of more in depth and does some actual like analysis and transfer stuff, and he's added some substance to the channel. So it's no longer just a whole bunch of guys talking nonsense. There's actually some substance there as well. I'm currently in the UK, and he's not, obviously, and so we haven't really worked out a great schedule. But if you want to follow me on Twitter, that's my handle there at the bottom. You can we'll always be posting when the shows are there on Twitter. And then if you just want to also just go to my channel and hit the like and you subscribe and hit the bell, then you'll always be notified. And it's a good time. It's definitely very chilled, not a very intense show or anything.
Your keeper West Ham is very good fun. I've seen that a few times. Both Ankit's and Colin's Twitter handles and a link to their channels are on the description, so there's no excuse. Thanks everybody for watching and who will be watching on this, and keep your comments coming in. Please hit the like, please hit the subscribe, it really helps. And then go into the description, go to Ankit's, and then go to Colin's and do exactly the same there. Okay, let's get this out of the way first. I mean, that first half, I'm sure, Ankit, you couldn't care less. Colin, we'll come to you a bit later and we'll discuss this. But in terms for you, Ankit, did you expect it to be that easy? Obviously, it's not just easy because Tottenham are bad. You were obviously very good. You right from the first whistle, 50-50s, you won them all. You were right on the ball, as was evidenced by Alonso's interception for the first goal. In a good mood, I assume.
You know what? It was kind of surprising. Firstly, the big surprise was us actually going 4 at the back. I'm sure it kind of took Spurs by surprise as well. But we were almost forced into it because, honestly, we all know, as it's well documented, Chelsea, unlike some big clubs, haven't been, given the leeway in terms of, missing games or maybe their games getting postponed despite so many COVID cases and injuries. And that's from the day. But the fact that we just had the, handful number of defenders, we had to go 4 at the back. And in a strange way, that kind of helped us because Alonso, than usual, he ran more. Otherwise, that's like a free license for anyone on the right-hand side of the opposition. Of course, attacking-wise, he's great, especially against Spurs over the years. But the fact that, at 4 at the back, he's not played, I think, for over a year. So imagine him playing left back. So it was really, really surprising, as in from an opposition point of view, speaking, for Spurs and Conte to give, that extra level of respect to Chelsea, as in probably, I know you're champions of Europe and all that. But at the end of the day, we were really not playing with a real first team. I know Spurs also missed a couple of players, but I think that is where Conte is a trick for me. I think Spurs should have gone on the front foot rather than us going on the front foot, and that's something that I think he should have taken a chance. I'm assuming again it's because of the fact that Spurs, it's been just over a month that Conte has been there, so he's still kind of figuring out things. And maybe like with the Italian squad that he did in the Euros and all those years ago, we know that he kind of likes to play on the break to begin things, and then maybe once he gets his team set up, he kind of attacks and then takes teams by surprise. And that's the approach that I'm seeing that he's using at Spurs. But yeah, then honestly speaking, I have to definitely praise my own team because despite basically the change of formation, I think the difference was the diamond in midfield. As in that was again a long time that we've not seen at Chelsea, and I think Saul, thanks to Spurs, Saul was reborn basically, as in or rather born for the first time at Chelsea because till now he's been missing. So for me, as in Saul and Jorginho, that kind of partnership was a main that in midfield Spurs couldn't get away, and we kind of controlled things, and that is why I think our forwards could basically float around, which kind of helped our team. But as in all in all, I would say like maybe. Again, I'm sure like Colin and Chris, you will also put in points. But for me, Tanganga playing on the right with, I think if I'm not wrong, it was Sanchez playing in the middle.
Yeah, Sanchez in the middle, Davies
That
left.
was, again, I don't think he's kind of so used to it. So him playing in the middle. So I think that was maybe, as in Joe Rodon, probably would have been a better bet. And just Spurs attacking down the wing of Alonso especially. I don't know. Over to you.
Yeah, I mean, Colin, from our point of view, I mean, I don't even know where to start. For me, it was the attitude. Chelsea came out of the blocks, full pelt, every 50-50, they wanted it more, and that's evidenced by the first goal. If your attitude isn't bang on, that's when you make the mistakes, like rolling a ball to Emerson. Emerson should have then, but as soon as he saw Alonso coming, grabbed him, chucked him to the floor, taking a yellow.
Oh, absolutely.
But that's what happens when the attitude is wrong. Just got a comment here. How you doing, Chris? Thanks so much for watching and the comment. But yeah, it's a sad state of affairs as well. When Eric Dyer is injured, we capitulate.
I was going to say that. Yes.
But
well, how do we miss Eric Dyer so much?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's only 2 goals, we'll come to that in a bit, it gives me a little bit of hope. But I mean, there was a point in that first half where Chelsea fans, you could hear on the TV, were saying, stand up if you hate Tottenham. I was so furious, I stood up and so angry about it. But your views of the first leg, I mean, going to be pretty evident what your views are going to be.
Yeah, I just feel like maybe I don't know. So has it been confirmed? Has it been confirmed that Reguilon was out with an injury? Because I can't really
I don't
understand.
know, but if he has, why is he on the bench? I don't really.
Right. I just feel like maybe I know that Conte is a genius. I know that he's done so much. I know that he's a world-class manager, but I still think it's okay to question some of his decisions at times. And I think that maybe this lineup, I think he maybe got the lineup a bit wrong. But that's still not an excuse for the players that like you said, didn't show up early. They weren't fighting for it. They weren't, I don't know if it was by instruction, but you remember when Kane used to just press from the front? I mean, we used to
do it, didn't we?
We did, and it just looked like we looked defeated before we had even, really begun. And after that first goal, especially, you could see heads drop. Ben Davis was trying to get everyone kind of back together and kind of get everybody to, just kind of stay together, stay with it. But I mean, the players all just kind of lost it. Their heads dropped. You could see it. It was visible, and it was just ugly. And I just want, this would have been a game for Lamela. Like that sounds funny to say, but like if I just want some fight. I just want them to care as much as we're just guys, sitting on the couch watching it on TV, and I feel like they don't even care as much as we do sometimes, and it's just hard to see.
Yeah, I mean, Ankit, a question for you here, and I'll warn you now, I'm really clutching at straws because this is all we've got. Will Chelsea rue not winning that first half 4-0 and essentially putting the tie to bed and ending the tie? Because with 2-0, we do have a chance. We come out of the traps quickly. I went to the Arsenal 5-1 semi-final 14 years ago, and we came out of that absolutely flying and absolutely battered Arsenal. So if we can do that, there's a good chance that we'll get a goal in the first 10 minutes and then it's tie back on. But is there any part of you that's worried or concerned and thinking you could rue not destroying us in that first half, because we were completely there for the taking.
Honestly, I have to say, yes, I am. I am slightly concerned. I'm not concerned. I would say that's not the right word. Probably, I'm just kind of a little bit weary, in terms of Conte. It's just the fact that I think Colin hit the nail on the head. Like we all know that, yeah, he's probably made mistakes in his early part of his career, as in probably a couple of them only, but he has his tactics right, as in more often than not. And as in you hit the nail as well, Chris, that the fact that if Spurs get that early lead in the second leg, as in it's game on for sure. And you're saying 4-0. Honestly speaking, I remember at least there are three. Hey Tommy, there are at least three chances that we missed. As in those are like nailed on chances. I think Lukaku header was like he should have got it, despite whatever he showed to Spurs fans, he shouldn't have. But the fact is, he should have scored. Honestly speaking, and Werner, I know that was actually a decent attempt at the chip, but I think he should have probably gone around the keeper rather. And of course, Ziyech had a good attempt as well. So for me, I think it 4-0 is a minimum that I would have demanded from the team. But again, the only reason as a Chelsea fan I'm kind of still happy because of the fact that it's actually a momentum. Many a time with Chelsea, we kind of once we are in the momentum, we kind of are continuing that, and the fact that the second leg is not very far from now, and puts me in kind of good spirits, because the Liverpool second half we did fantastic. Honestly, like that was one of the performances of the season, as in for any Premier League side, as in I'm sure you would agree, right? But I think the Spurs, again, that first half was fantastic. Second half we missed chances, but overall I would say I'm still positive. And then hopefully that by the second leg, maybe Kante is fit. I think he is down with COVID. I'm not sure. Technically, 10 days will be over, but I think he makes a huge difference, right? And then he kind of covers for two. So with him hopefully being back, I can see us basically just kind of keeping a clean sheet in the second leg, and that should be good. But of course, we'll come to that. But yeah, overall, I would say like. It's about a forward line, right? It's well documented from last couple of years now that we've not been finishing well. And yes, Lukaku has scored. I think that 1 week break that he himself took was in a way the reason why we did not score. Like, if he not got that break, maybe, you never know that he would have got that goal. So let's hope he's got some game time and he comes back stronger from a Chelsea perspective.
Yeah, let's hope he comes back stronger from a Chelsea perspective in a week. Yeah, how you doing, Tommy? I was on your stream yesterday and it's fairly downbeat, very downbeat. Is there any positivity you've got this morning after having a sleep on it, that it's only 2-0 if we can get an early goal? You never know, and Chelsea really should have been out of sight by now. Is there any positivity from you for the second leg?
First of all, cheers for having me on, Chris. Ankit, much love, man. We've done a preview before. I said if Lukaku started, it was going to be bad. Colin, my man. So it's good to be on the show, boys. Second look, it's 2-0. It's only 2-0. There's no away goals. So away goals would have been a problem because they kept a clean sheet. If you keep a clean sheet at home, it's like a 3-0 win, basically. But without the away goals, we're massively in this competition. I was just listening briefly, and 4-0, it probably should have been 4-0, especially in the first half. Oh my God, absolutely.
We were absolutely there for the taking. Chelsea could have had as many as they wanted, really.
So I mean, we improved in the second half. I don't know how many. It's not far from our first team either, really, was it? It wasn't really far from our first team. I mean, Reggie, the front three, Lucas, Kane, Son, they all played. Skip, Højbjerg, they played. Dyer and Reggie, I don't think they're going to make that much of a difference. Perfectly, I think Reggie probably would because he's more attacking. But I don't think Doherty was that bad. He was one of the better players.
No,
yeah. I mean,
the issue he's got on that side is he's got no left foot, so he's always tracking back. So you don't really get this is dangerous when he gets going forward, because he's tracking back into trouble. Whereas Reguilon has got because he's left foot, he can just whip it in first time before anyone gets near him. But yeah, I didn't think he did that much wrong, Doherty.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, we've got no other option. Sessegnon's injury prone. Again, that's an understatement. Yeah. Injury prone. He's looked okay here and there. But no, we're still in the game. And look, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium with the home fans in, a big rivalry like this. Let's face it, our home form is much, much better than our away form. I mean, Conte only just picked up his first win, and that was a 96-minute winner against Watford. So away we are bad away. So at home, Only 2 goals. We can certainly do it. We can certainly do it.
Yeah, I mean, are there any positives for you, Tommy? Colin's just nipped off to eat some fried chicken. Apparently, anyone who's hungry there, you can blame Colin for.
I'm on a diet, mate.
Chill
out. I'm on a diet. I'm on a liquid diet here. Come on.
Yeah, so Tommy and Colin have now fallen out. Any positives of Tottenham? I thought Skip looked fairly good. They're fairly comfortable. Morva was trying to make stuff happen, but if you haven't got anyone else who's trying to make stuff happen and keeping up with you, then he's not going to beat 10 people. They're the only 2 positives that I can think of, really. Any more for you or any for you in that first leg?
I think you summed it up. I think that's it. I think that's all there is, to be honest with you. The top 3 were just not found. We lost the centre midfield battle. As good as Skip was, and I like Højbjerg too, the lack of creativity, the lack of being able to get past players in centre midfield, that's something that's often overlooked. Like Moussa Dembele used to do. He used to take players on in centre midfield. We certainly don't have that with Højbjerg and Skip. So you need either that type of player or you need somebody that's deep that can spray the passes. We don't have either in Højbjerg and Skip. No. And it was telling. It was telling in that game. We lost that centre midfield battle. And if you lose the centre midfield battle as badly as that, then you're going to lose the game because everything comes through the centre midfield. We couldn't release the top 3. We couldn't release our Lucas, Son and Kane. So nobody comes out of their head held high. It was, Skip done all right. Lloris is probably our man in the match. That save against Werner was a good save. That probably kept us in the game. And Lloris has just been different minerals this season. He's just every game has been top notch. Talking about new signings this month, we need to get Lloris. Need to make sure he signs that contract. We really, really do. So nobody can come out with their head held high really in that game the other day.
Yeah. Well, this is a Tottenham stream, so inevitably the January transfer window and transfers will be coming up a bit later. But Ankit, in terms of what Tommy said there, I completely agree with the Dembele. And what you also get with someone who's creative like that is you get someone who's able to put their foot on the ball, dictate the pace of the game. So when we had Dembele and Eriksen, they were superb, I thought. When a team scored a goal on top, they'd get the ball for 5 minutes, slow the game down, takes all the sting out of the game. We didn't have that at all. As soon as Chelsea started, it was attack, and we just couldn't stop that. At home, it'd be slightly different. I expect you to be a bit more conservative, kind of how you were in that second half, try not to give anything silly away. Is there anyone in particular you're worried about with Tottenham, or anything you're slightly worried about, or do you think it will be Tuchel? We'll see how it goes for 10, 15 minutes, and then if you're under pressure, then maybe make a change. If not, then we're all right for carrying on with a 2-0 here.
Yeah, then we have to be careful about the forward line of Tottenham. Let's be right. They had an off game, and probably Tommy is right in terms of just them not being there in that first half, especially was kind of surprising to me. Because let's be honest, this is probably one of your best chances for a trophy. Coming to semis, it's again, a big deal. I know, as a matter of fact, and even for us, to be honest, it's been a Man City Cup for years together, right? So it's high time that we as another club wins it. And from Tottenham perspective, what I believe is yes, midfield is something that as in definitely you guys are missing someone. We have, for instance, we have Kovacic. Yes, in this game he didn't start, but I think. Saul in this game was someone who kind of played that role, who was driving with the ball as well as going for the tackles, and he's a good passer of the ball as well, right? So I think that all-round midfielder is something that again Saul was born in this game, like I said earlier, but that's something that as in Spurs might want to go for the second leg because for me again I know that it's been inconsistent, but Ndombele is probably that person. He's not done too bad at moments in the past. So for me, he's that person who kind of brings strength as well as creativity, and in terms of passing, and he's the kind of all-round midfielder closest to what can be a threat in midfield. But honestly, it's about basically a forward line, and again, if Mora or Son kind of runs at us, and that's what surprises me even more because I think, they didn't have much of the ball, honestly speaking, but whenever they did, they didn't run at us, directly, especially Lucas Moura. He's obviously known for it, right? So. With our wing backs, our wing backs are out for the season. Reece James is almost out for the season, and of course, Ben Chilwell is documented. So, these are two people that, and anytime soon, I don't see us. Obviously, next week, and then I don't see us getting a left back so soon. Even if we get, the person will not play. So it's probably going to be Alonso again. So that is still my fear. As much as I loved his performance in 4 at the back, I can, knowing Tuchel, see us going back to 5 at the back, and we might just go that defensive, like in the Champions League as well. Like I know it's different competitions altogether, but last season we did against Porto. We got that lead, 2-0 lead initially, and second leg we just kind of managed the game. So I fear that we might just do that. Honestly, if you just ask me, I would want us to attack in the second leg, and that is why I think it's basically, the ball is in Conte's court, really. Like if he wants to go for the game, unlike what he did in the first leg, I think probably Spurs might just fancy their chances because of the fact that we don't have those wing backs for pacey, and you have basically wingers in Son and Mora who can really beat. And of course, I'm pretty sure Reguilon will be back in the second leg, and he's a threat for us for sure.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, that second leg. Wayne Bonham in the chat. How you doing, Wayne? A big supporter of all Spurs channels. Darryl, we'll get to this a bit later on. Fans crying, we ain't got Coutinho. He's never going to come to us with Gerrard pulling the strings at Villa. Will come to the transfer window in a bit. Colin, welcome back. How was your chicken?
Oh, it's great. It's delicious. Like I said, I apologize to Tommy for eating savory things while you are on your water diet, mate.
Well, we'll move on quickly and then depress everyone by talking about Tottenham. Second leg, we're going to have to go for that in a certain extent. Maybe not right from the start, but at some point go for that. And the fans, I think, will be quite crucial in that, creating a not hostile atmosphere, but a loud atmosphere. How do you see the second leg going, Colin? Obviously, Chelsea, I would think, are going to be a bit more. They're not going to be as gung-ho as they were in that first half because they don't need to be. If they need to then start doing that, then they'll probably come out a little bit more, certainly if we get a goal and give us something to think about. But do you see us going gung-ho from the start? Because I see that.
I think we have to, Chris. You know, I think if we don't get an early goal, it's going to be almost impossible to get back into this tie. And it's really going to depend on who we've got available. I mean, if we line up like we did, for that first leg, it's going to be really tough. I don't really see much of a chance. But we desperately need more from our wing backs. I mean, with our system so dependent on them, I just don't know what we're going to do. It's sad to say, but we need Eric Dyer and we need Sergio Reguilon back, just because they're just integral to the way that we play. We kind of bypass our midfield in a way and use the wing backs to create the chances. And we saw Doherty on the left side, Doherty on the left side just isn't going to work. That's just not. We can't do that again. I really hope that I would rather play Brian Hill on the left side than play Doherty there again, just because it was just ugly. Granted, he didn't look terrible. He wasn't our worst player, but we just need more from those wide positions. And so if we don't get an early goal, I'm really worried, and I think it could be very painful. We could end up losing by a lot. But I think an early Kane goal, like you said, and we're right back in it.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think, Tommy? Because the biggest thing for me, no doubt, Dyer in terms of not having Sanchez in the middle will help, and Reguilon obviously. But the biggest thing for me, which I mentioned on your stream yesterday, was the attitude. It looked like they came out just not really at it at all. Whereas we've got to come out with a bang-on attitude. We want this game. We're up for this game. We're going to kill Chelsea. We're going to beat Chelsea. And that kind of mindset, rather than whatever the hell the mindset was on Wednesday. What do you think will be the key for us turning this around, if we can turn it around? And how do you see the game going?
I was just looking at the fixtures. And it seems like Leicester's been added to the next few games. And that means we've got 3 games in 7 days when we play Chelsea on Wednesday. So we've got an unbelievably tricky few weeks ahead, because then we got Chelsea again for the 3rd time in the league after that.
It feels like that Christmas period finally hit.
And Arsenal as well.
Yeah,
is that the 15th?
Yeah, of course.
Something like that.
Yeah. So we got Chelsea in a Carabao Cup second leg, Morecambe Sunday. Then Chelsea Carabao Cup second leg Wednesday. Arsenal Sunday, Leicester Wednesday. Leicester are no mugs. They could get top 4. They could get.
They have no recognized strikers available though for that match, Tommy. Just so you know, they have no recognized strikers available. I know that.
So we don't have any recognised centre back, so it's a fairly even game.
Yeah. But Vardy's out, and then their other strikers are.
Iheanacho and Daka are out as well. Jeez,
yep.
That is an injury. There are injury issues, but I mean, still their midfield is magnificent. But yeah, it's going to be. I'm very interested in the lineup we put out now, seeing as we've got 3 games in 7 days, and of course the North London derby that weekend. Yeah. But obviously Conte hasn't given up, or he wouldn't have made the subs he did in the second half of the game, because it was damage limitation, wasn't it? It wasn't let's throw everyone on and we could lose 4-0. It was we're really not going to get it going in this situation. Well. We're really not going to get it going in this situation. So let's just keep it at 2-0 and we'll go again in the second leg. So with that in mind, I do think he's going to go. I think he's going to go full strength. And as you say, I don't think it was necessarily that the players weren't up for it. I think first and foremost that we're no way near good enough. And this was the first quality team we came up against, especially the defensive line, the back line, and lack of creativity in centre midfield. So, and you're going to get found out against the big teams. And it was the first real big team at full strength that we've played under Conte. And that's nothing against Conte. That's just the reality of the squad, the shape this squad is in. He's not a miracle man. He's not a miracle man at all. So, yeah, it's only 2-0 with the fans behind us as well. They can get the players up for it a little bit more. And who knows, coming off beating Morecambe, but win to win. Hopefully, do you know what? If we lose to Morecambe, then
I'm dreading Monday's channel stream when I'm going to have to put the title as Morecambe are wise to Spurs or something similar like that. I can just see something.
Then, but if we do, then there really will have to be some revenge, and there will have to be a performance against Chelsea, won't there? So it could bode well if we lose to Morecambe. But no,
I don't want that to happen. No.
But yeah,
I think with the attitude.
Do you think we're going to go weak? Do you think we're going to be weak against Morecambe? We're going to go second string.
We'll get onto it, yeah. But I think we have to be. We have to rest Højbjerg. We have to rest Son. We have to rest Kane, because this second leg is the biggest game of our season by quite a way so far.
So that's going to be big in terms of what we do against Chelsea, in terms of how rested the players are. Because Son looks like he needs a rest massively.
Højbjerg does as well.
So hopefully Dane Scarlett starts, Winksy starts in that Morecambe game. I've got a funny feeling we'll keep 3 or 4 players, first team players in there, because that's just how Conte operates. And you can't trust this depth. We lost to Mura. I don't know if Mura are much better than Morecambe. So our depth is worrying. But that would have a big part to play against Chelsea at home with the fans behind us. We've got a chance. We've certainly got a chance. If I was predicting it, I think we're still going out.
Well, I think if we do go out, it'll be by 1 goal, and it'll be because of that first half. But if we can play with the attitude that we had against Liverpool, I know it was a weakened Liverpool midfield, and we were at home. If we can get that kind of fire there, we've got a chance. Ankit, coming back to you, all the talk pretty much before was Lukaku. Obviously, his comments about Roma and everything like that. Firstly, has that changed your opinion on Lukaku as a Chelsea fan? And what did you make of his performance? He obviously missed that header, but he bullied Sanchez. And I think unless you're maybe Van Dijk, Lukaku's going to bully pretty much every central defender because he's just that strong, certainly when he wants to play. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Lukaku as a Chelsea fan? And what did you think of his performance overall?
Yeah, I think, honestly speaking, just speaking from the heart, certainly the jury is out there for me. Yes, I didn't like the fact that he went, without the knowledge of Chelsea to the media and spoke, and that's, again, everyone knows that. And yes, he's corrected it. He came out with an apology. And for me, the most important part was to see his intent on the pitch. And like you said, in the very first few minutes, in fact, that run that he went on, yes, he should have passed better in that run as well. I think it was right in the first minute, if I remember right. And that kind of gave it to all the Chelsea fans that, hey, this guy is actually basically going to be trying, and we saw that towards the end of the game as well. He's not someone that kind of is basically missing in parts, and he actually was there. Yes, in terms of the finishing, maybe you can say, like I said, like it's been 1 week that he hasn't played, and he's just coming back, and that's why that that kind of timing wasn't there. And yeah, then there might be people out there who might be saying that okay, him playing against Conte, and there's some kind of story there as well. But for me, I think he's one of those who would like to get one over their former employers in a way. I remember the days when he was at Everton, he scored against us, and then for sure he celebrated that goal and he was up for it, right? As in he is that kind of a character. So I won't be surprised actually even for the second leg again. Like he is one of our key players. And by that time, obviously, it's we're having obviously one game this weekend, but I doubt if he'll play that. Again, we're playing what as in Chesterfield, and that'll give him enough kind of rest to kind of work for that game. So I certainly feel that Lukaku performance overall, I would put him like maybe a 7 out of 10 if you ask me in terms of rating. Yes, he probably should have done a bit better, but I think the encouragement was the fact that he went for it from minute one, and that's something that I would love to him, for him to do in second leg because, like I said, if you guys get that early goal in second leg, it'll be really nervy. We haven't been great at the back recently. I know as much as we've not conceded in the past few months, but I think last month has been really bad. And I actually would turn the question to you, Chris, and of course Colin and Tommy as well. Like the fact that we were able to get Conte to change his system in that second half, and the second half, I know that we were kind of sitting back and kind of managing things, but still, in a strange way, it worked better for Tottenham. So is it that the current squad is maybe still getting used to five at the back in contest style, and maybe as in going for the back will maybe suit your players, especially the attackers, more?
Yeah, he had to change something, didn't he? And I think there's an element as well that you sat back a little bit more. You were nowhere near as pressing as you were in that first half. So I think you let us play a little bit more, certainly in that second half, just because keep a clean sheet, keep it at least 2-0, see if we can nick one. But with Conte's formation, he likes to play with five in the middle, but one of those is creative, and we just don't have anyone like that. So we're kind of, Dan mentioned it on Tommy's stream yesterday, Dan Huggins, that he's kind of hampered by the fact that he can't play his preferred system because the personnel that we have, we don't have at the moment. But yeah, it would be interesting what system Conte starts with in the second leg. But yeah, Colin, what do you think to Ankit's question there?
And I'm sorry, Ankit, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so as in, I was just wondering about the system because, like as in Chris also, kind of mentioned that, as in the current person that you don't have that creative extra midfielder, or maybe even as in especially Emerson Royale is not that natural kind of attacking wing back in terms of the quality. So maybe the four at the back suits you because you have much more better attackers. So why not use them more upfront, right?
No, that I definitely see where you're coming from there, and to also with what Chris was saying, we are missing that creative player in the center of the park. But would you think maybe is it time to put Winks there? I mean, he's the closest thing that we have to a creative midfielder right now. I know that it's not ideal, and he's not the ideal player, but I just think that maybe it's needs must at this point, and he could maybe do a job there. But yeah, I don't know. I was sort of expecting to see a four at the back yesterday. I know that Conte doesn't, or not yesterday, 2 days ago. I'm losing my days, but I know that that's not Conte's preferred formation, but I just thought maybe with the players that we had, it was very obvious to me that Sanchez looked like he did not know what he was doing. He did not feel comfortable in that central position, and yeah, so. I'm excited to see. Let's just say that I'm excited to see what happens. It'll all depend on who comes back. If Dyer is back, if he's how long that he's had COVID, how long he tests positive, and that's all just kind of up in the air. That can be. But these guys we got to know too are getting the absolute best treatment possible. You know what I mean? He's probably all kinds of medications and stuff. He should be back, I would think. I think it's a 7-day isolation period. And so
yeah, he should be, shouldn't he?
Yeah, he theoretically, but then he won't probably have trained, and he won't. So yeah, that's all up in the air. But I think that Conte will see that he's got to make some changes. Clearly, what we did, in the first leg didn't work. And also, Chris, just to touch on the point that you said that in the second half, it didn't seem like Chelsea were pressing as much. They didn't seem to be pushing as hard. But maybe, and I'm just kind of clutching at straws here, but maybe they just tired themselves out. Like I'm hoping that might just not be possible to keep that up for an entire 90 minutes. And I think we need to take advantage of that too. I think maybe maybe we kind of I know we're going to, but we need to do the thing where we sit back and we try to get them on the break. I think that's going to be the only way we do it. The only way we can get back into this is if we can nick a goal on the counter, and then after that maybe Chelsea will start to worry, and then we can get ourselves back in. But yeah, it's really going to be dependent on an early goal from us.
Yeah. And just a quick message going to the FA Cup. There's no second leg in the FA Cup for third, fourth round, so we have to win against Morecambe, is what Chris has said. We'll get onto the FA Cup in a bit. But yeah, Tommy, what do you think about Conte's system and everything? And in terms of your comment there, Colin, about sitting back, that worries me. If with Lukaku, if you give him the chances like he had, he ain't going to have a second game where he doesn't score. So I think we have to go and take it to them and make them sit back. But yeah, Tommy, Ankit's question there about the formation and Conte changing his system. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think we're limited because of the personnel we currently have. It's as simple as that, really. I think maybe Conte wants to go to a 3-5-2, but there certainly isn't the personnel to go to 3-5-2. 4 at the back. I've heard a little bit of talk about 4 at the back, but Conte's never played with a 4 at the back. So, and I think I said in the summer, this team is the best we can get out of this team in terms of personnel is to play the 3 at the back. I think that works for this team.
Yeah, I think we're all quite surprised that
it's great. Yeah, it still doesn't mean it's great because the personnel are weak, but it's the best option we have. Now, the choice is 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. As I said, maybe he wants to go with 3-5-2 like he did with Inter Milan over the last, the previous 2 years, won the Scudetto with them, very successful. But I got a funny feeling he's definitely going to stick with the 3-4-3 from now until the end of the season, unless we get 3 strikers or 2 strikers in this window. But yeah, maybe 3-5-2 next season, maybe 3-5-2 next season. And I think Son is so key. Son is absolutely key, and he looks so burnt out. He looks incredibly burnt out. Same with Højbjerg. They need this rest against. I would be so annoyed if they play against Morecambe because it has been.
I'd be annoyed even if they're on the bench. Just instruct them to stay at home, sit on the sofa. I'd be furious if it was anything other than that with those two.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this system's going to be in play. It has to be 3-4-3. Hopefully, we get that creative man in January. Then it will change things. It will change things in the centre midfield.
Yeah, I have one big point regarding the system, because we're talking systems. It's something about Spurs and Chelsea, right? As in, I remember when Lampard was there. As in, again, all of a sudden, Lampard, who used to always play 4-3-3, went 3-5-2 under Jose Mourinho. In Spurs, and we beat, as in you guys, 2-0. And then obviously the recent game as well, I think it was September, when it was obviously we changed in the second half, we came 3-5-2. So I don't know, as in us again going 4 at the back was kind of, I think, took Spurs by surprise, and that's what I would say, because Conte, trust me, like this guy is a master tactician. As in, he put it in the I think in the presser after the game as well. Like, yes, he needs money, he needs signings, but again, we've seen the Italian team that he's had, right? Even with as a limited personnel. I spoke to Tommy the other day. Like, he made Alonso and Victor Moses look like basically as in Jordi Alba and Cafu of it. Like, that's how good they were. Really, as in 2017 they were fantastic. So trust me, like given the time, he'll get you going, and it's about us basically changing that. Maybe took Spurs by surprise, and that's why maybe Conte thought, let's give 45 minutes, see what they are kind of having, and that became kind of a bit too negative. But yeah, as in, I again won't be surprised if in the second leg we go back to a normal formation, and maybe you'll be better prepared this time.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting. That first 15-20 minutes of the second leg is huge, I'd say. If we can get a goal, or at the very, very least, cause it'll be Azpilicueta, Kepa in goal, cause him to make a few good saves. That'll get the fans up, and then it will show Chelsea, right, we're in for a game here. If 15-20 minutes go by and we haven't really done anything, it's going to be really tough for us to
that's a really good point that you made too. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm forgetting that Kepa doesn't play very often. I'm surprised.
I would have just grabbed some pot shots at him, just because.
Me too. Yeah,
he got something from Morva, didn't he? Across, and we just that was after about half hour. Just at first corner that we get, stick it under his box and get, I don't know, Sanchez or Tanganga on him, see what he's made of, and we just didn't do anything.
Yeah, I was surprised at that. I was very surprised at that.
Yeah, I mean, let's move on from the game and talk about January. I mean, this will take a little while for Tottenham, so we'll start with you, Ankit, because I don't think there's a huge amount that you really need. You're kind of at the top echelons, just slightly below Man City and Liverpool at the moment. But in terms of what do you think Chelsea need? Do you think you'll buy anyone in January or sell anyone? And what do you think you need in January? Both buying and selling.
Unfortunately, I think it comes down to the injuries. As in, yes, on paper we have a great squad, but recent weeks, especially if you watch carefully, we have really, as in again, Harvey Vale got some minutes there, but trust me, if we had a full squad, he wouldn't have got. That's what how big Barkley has not even been seen. People have forgotten that he's at Chelsea still, but honestly, it's basically Ben Chilwell and Reece James who are kind of long-term injuries. For me, those are really two pressing elements because we really need our wing backs to work, because that's maybe one of the reasons why Conte thought going forward at the back makes sense, because Pulisic at right wing back, and let's be honest, he's no wing back. Same with Hudson-Odoi. I don't know why he keeps playing them there, but anyway, coming back to basically the signings, I'm pretty sure we are probably going for a wing back, but the problem is now we know Ben Chilwell, when he comes back, he's going to be first choice. He's been fantastic for us whenever he's played, and Reece James as in one of the best wing backs in the country, that, right? So now who's going to come to us, and knowing that for sure, they'll be second choice. Something like what it is with Kane, getting the striker for Spurs, that it's not even like a doubt, 100% sure that person will be back up to the wing back in future. So the best option would be for us to go on for a loan move. There are talks about Coutinho, but today I hear again Aston Villa, they did something massive with getting Coutinho back all of a sudden. I don't know from where. Suddenly, they are linked to Coutinho as well. It's more about the Mercy side is what Gerrard is kind of having the connection. So that's something that I can basically see us competing for. But because he might probably get first team minutes in Villa versus Chelsea in future. I would not mind.
He would get first team minutes for you though, wouldn't he? Because he's a left-sided one and Chilwell's out for the rest of the season, so he'd get half a season, and then who knows if he plays well there, if he forces his way in.
Isn't he kind of getting on? Isn't he 30?
Yeah, he's 30, but I think that's just about right, because right now we don't want we want someone who's ready right now. We don't want someone to kind of bring from abroad. So Coutinho kind of understands the league, and he's having that experience as well in terms of the squad. I know he fell out with Rafa Benitez, but who doesn't? So that's something that we all know that he's probably going to be the right fit. But again, if we have a competing in a club like Villa, I personally feel that we might just lose out on unless he's kind of looking for the salary. Because of the fact that I think maybe even in these 6 months, Alonso, attacking wise is great. So if say Chelsea play against low block teams, I can see Alonso starting over Coutinho. As much as Coutinho is great in his assists, I can still see Alonso starting because of having that aerial ability as well. But maybe maybe bigger teams is where Coutinho comes in. But again, I think we are also linked with Jorginho Dest from Barcelona. So he's someone who I believe can play on either wing, can play as an attacker as well. But if you ask me, I wouldn't want to go for him. Yes, he's great, and of course, it always helps. The business point of view, the US people, kind of coming through, and that certainly helps. I know with Pulisic it's helped, but for sure, I think we need someone from the league who's been there, done that. So I am kind of disappointed that we didn't get Trippier. Newcastle have got it's a coup, man. As in 12 million plus 3 million a year. That's awesome, I think, for a club like Newcastle who have loads of money. So we probably missed out a trick there, and it's again time and again that recent transfer window, for some reason we are not ready when it comes to the first day of the transfer window. Under Jose Mourinho, it was far different. That's something that maybe as a club we need to work on further.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have been upset with Trippier in our situation, but I'm not sure he'd have come back with Levy. But we've got some transfer update from Chris Agenbar here. Breaking news. There is no update. Where have we heard that before? I was watching Colin, We're Tottenham TV earlier this morning. Ryan and Ben having a debate. Ryan, obviously, there's been no transfer activity. Furious. Ben saying it's only 7 days in. Calm down. We've got to give patience. Really good debate it was. Where do you stand on this? And do you think there'll be any transfer activity? Because I'm adamant. Well, was adamant when Conte signed that he's got to have had some kind of, not clause, but kind of conditions in that we do stuff in January, you give me the players I want, but then his comments in the last couple of days saying it's up to the board of maybe where do you stand on will there be transfers, and are you panic stations at the moment, or are you like Ben, like calm down, it's 7 days?
It's a tough one because I want to say be calm, it's only 7 days, but then that becomes it's only 12 days, it's only been, you know what I mean, it could easily kind of become one of those things, you know. We definitely do need some transfers. I mean, and you know, back before Conte and Paratici, we would sometimes see signings just kind of appear, you know, and we wouldn't hear much about it, and they would just show up. And now we've got, you know, the Italian contingent, and there's a lot of Italian journalists that, you know a lot about what's going on in our club, and it just scares me that I haven't heard more. You know, I haven't heard more. It seems like the signings we've been making lately, there's been a lot of noise before they come. Now that we've got Paratici, and there just hasn't been much noise. I keep hearing, you know, Vlahovic, but lately I've even seen that Arsenal are now front runners for him, which is weird. I'm not sure if I believe it.
Ben also said about that calm down, that's not by anyone official or anything like that, so maybe just paper talk. But I think it's fairly safe to say if Arsenal did go and get him, there would be a lot of angry people. And
watch out for Brian Daigle, yeah.
Well, anybody that thinks we're going to sign Vlahovic is mad. Absolutely mad. Never, ever, ever, ever going to happen. As I said yesterday, I'll get a Dusan Vlahovic tattoo on my arse if we sign him next. Not if we sign him in 10 years, because that's different. But if his next club's Tottenham Hotspur, I'll get Dusan on one bum cheek, Vlahovic on the other.
If we do that, we do, can I put a request in? You don't do a video like Brian Daigle did with I don't want to see your ass on YouTube.
Yeah.
It would get your channel demonetized pretty quick.
As I said yesterday, it is a bit. It certainly is flabby after Christmas. I'm not going to lie.
I think it's safe to say that Vlahovic will be moving either in January or the summer, where remains to be seen, and maybe he's hedging his bets. Right, let's see who's in Champions League come the summer, and I'll try and make a play to go there, rather than in January where it's kind of up in the air. But I mean, Coutinho for me was an angry one. Darren mentioned it, but he was always going to go to someone like a Villa because of the Gerrard effect there. But for me, it's he's creative. He can play a pass. He can put his foot on the ball. He can dictate play, which is exactly what we need. And whether we'd have got him or whether we wouldn't, the fact that we weren't even interested, seemingly, is just crazy for the fact that Barcelona are paying, I think, half of his wages or something like that. And it's it's not an obligation to buy, it's an option to buy. So if it doesn't work out, Villa just cut ties with him. So, I mean, Tommy, where do you stand on this transfer stuff? And we've got a comment from Dowell here. Has anyone seen anything different in the summer and now in windows that have been different to any other? I mean, Ben does make a good point on We Are Tottenham. It's only 7 days, but then Colin makes a good point. It's like how it was 7 days become 14, then 21, and then by that time it's the end of the window. Where do you draw the line on a certain day? Like, right, we have to sort of like be making moves by this day, or is it as long as we sign someone by the end? I don't care if we make the moves on the 31st of January, as long as we get them in by the 1st of February. And yeah, well, where do you stand on all this transfer?
It's very tricky because we had this over the summer. Wait till the 1st of September. Wait till the 1st of September. Wait till the 1st. Not a great deal happened. We signed the Gallinis and the Emersons, who nobody really knew. And Sarr went back on loan, signed him back on loan. So we waited and waited, and nothing really happened. No great sign other than Romero. There were no big signs. Romero's been out for 2 months, so we still don't know what he's capable of. But do you know what? Levy's renowned for doing his business very, very late. The last 7 days, the last 3 days, the last 2 days, in fact, in the January window. Very, very late. I'll be very surprised if he does anything in the first 2 weeks in the window, if I'm perfectly honest. The earlier the better. The earlier the better, because you get more time to get the players in. It gives them more time. The earlier you make any transfer in any window, even more time to adapt to Conte's philosophy and his new teammates. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we do bring players in. It'll be over the last 7 days. I mean, I've done a solo stream about 2 hours ago, just talking transfers. It was a solo stream, but unfortunately, I went live the exact point Tottenham went live, so not many people watched it. I'm talking exactly the same time. So it's it was just a 1 to 11 of possible signings, and basically, I'm looking at things in this window and the next window, because what Conte said in his interviews this week, the transfer market. I'm just the coach. I don't have any say in the transfer market. In his initial interview, then after the Chelsea game, he was saying it's not about the transfer market. It's not about the transfer market. So, I'm convinced. I wanted 2 or 3 in. 3 would have been nice this January, but I'm convinced it will be 1, and I'm convinced that 1 will probably be Traore. Because he's just coming again and again and again the same.
Yeah, that's like the only smoke there's been, really.
I mean, who's the key for you? The key signing for you? I'll come to Colin first. Like position, Ankit's mentioned with Chelsea there, the fullbacks. Obviously, that's because of injuries, not because they need him. If Reece James and Chilwell are fit, then very possibly Chelsea don't really need anybody. But for me, it's a creative midfielder. That is the highest priority. Even higher than getting someone to play alongside Kane or with Kane or give Kane a rest, because we look so flat against teams without that creative player. But yeah, what's your... So if we only signed a creative player, obviously we want more, but at least we've made strides to improve the team, so I wouldn't be too upset. And then the summer window is where hopefully the big business comes in. But yeah, I'll start with you, Colin. What's your priority this window, or do you have multiple priorities?
I almost want to say multiple, but I agree with you wholeheartedly that we need some creativity on the pitch. I think that without it, we're forced into playing this weird kind of ugly style of football. That's not really Spurs. It's not what we enjoy watching as fans. We're gonna sneak some wins because we've got a couple world-class players, but the system would just work so much better with a creative player there. And we've seen, and like I said earlier, we've seen Winks kind of have a little bit of a resurgence and be able to pull the strings a bit. And so maybe we could paper over the cracks by playing him, for the rest of the season if needed. I think we really need to sign somebody to compete with Emerson. I think he's only 22. He doesn't know the league yet very well. He's athletic, obviously. He's got the build. I think he's going to be a really good player for us. I do, but I just haven't seen a whole lot from him yet. And so we look like on the left side with Sessegnon, with Reggie, we look pretty good, But on the right, it's just Emerson, and I feel like we could really use another player over there. I'm Doherty, but I don't really count him because he's not.
I saw rumours that Wolves are interested in him.
Take him, please.
No, because Doherty he was superb at Wolves, right? Needless to be told, when Spurs signed him, we all remember that particular, the way that he launched himself into Spurs. I thought, okay, this guy is going to be a world beater, but what's gone wrong with him? Is it off the field issues, or what's gone wrong with him?
I think it's the fact that Wolves played him as a wing back. We insist on playing him as a full back, which it's not a million miles away. It's not like going from a goalkeeper to a striker, but it is a different position. And then confidence goes, and you've got a manager in Jose who, I get the feeling with like Poch, if something goes wrong or a player doesn't fulfill what he should be doing, it's kind of an arm around his shoulder mentality. Whereas Jose, it's lining up against the wall and shooting them like, how dare you never talk to me again. And some players can handle that, like your Ibrahimovic's, your John Terry's can handle that. People like Dele Alli, Harry Winks, maybe even Doherty. Football's changed. They're all mollycoddled now and almost diva-ish. It's the players like a Terry and Ibrahimovic who can just handle being shouted at and screamed at are kind of few and far between. But yeah, in terms of the transfer window, Tommy, a good point from Chris Agambar here. No guarantee if we get anyone in January, they will hit the ground running. Like Moore, he wasn't fit injured. He had to get used to the system. Play. Darryl's then came and said, same can be said for the summer. Chris has replied, in the summer you have pre-season, a bit more time for players.
Exactly.
But
exactly. That's it. You have much more time, and you don't have games as you're getting ready as well.
But in terms of January, it then does send a message like, okay, we've got a creative player. If they can hit the ground running, all great. If not, then come the summer, they're integrated into the team for 6 months or whatever. Then they get a full season, pre-season when they should be integrated in, and it creates a bit more competition. But yeah, in terms of January, what would be your key area? Or do you, like Colin, have multiple areas? And do you think Winks could be that creative midfielder to the end of the season and we focus on something else?
There's so many areas.
Darryl's also said last time we bought players, we've got pre-season. But
There's so many players we need. There's so many players we need. Yeah. We haven't had injuries yet. We've been very, very fortunate with injuries. We've just had Ramiro. Sessegnon doesn't really play anyway. And Bergwijn's been out the last week or so. We've been very fortunate with injuries. Son, Højbjerg, Kane, they've been fit the whole season. It's a matter of time before one of them get injured. And Son's backup is Gil, hasn't started a Premier League game. Kane has no backup. And Højbjerg's getting a lot of flack anyway, whether he's fit or not.
Yeah, I don't understand that. He played every game last season, pretty much every game apart from the final in the Euros, the whole Eriksen situation, the mental fatigue that must have created, and he's played pretty much every game this season as well. And you say Son isn't injured, but the fact that he looks an absolute shadow of himself because he looks absolutely shattered, he's completely ineffective, really, in large parts of the game. But I was talking to Brad.
So Kane is needed. We 100% need a Kane backup. Yeah, because I know Kane's not scoring even, but he's still offering a lot. He couldn't score against Chelsea because he had to come so deep to get the ball because the other players were not able to make the pass that he does. He's an assister now. We know he's an assister because he got the top assist last season. But he also got a lot of goals as well. So we need a backup for Kane because it's almost inevitable he'll be out for a month or two because he is every season.
Do you think there'll be a scenario potentially that we buy a striker? Maybe not Vlahovic, but let's just say Vlahovic, because if Vlahovic you start Vlahovic and then move Kane back into a number 10. So then we've got our creative player. Kane might not be happy about that because he's not going to likely score as many goals.
I don't think Conte plays with number 10s. I think the problem is Conte's never played with number 10s. Even when he signed a number 10 in Eriksen, he made him a centre mid as part of a free. So I don't think he really plays with number 10. So it's going to be tricky in that sense. But but I think it's important to get back up if Kane's injured and to give him competition, maybe up his game with competition. We talk about Son and Højbjerg playing week in, week out. What about Kane? Nobody ever talks about Kane playing week in, week out, week in. He needs a rest. We think he's this godlike figure, sublime being, and he is. He's a great player, but he's human. He is human at the end of the day. So we need that competition. We need to give him a rest. So a backup striker is essential. Is absolutely essential, and a creative centre midfielder. Creative centre midfielder and a backup striker. The problem with centre midfield is we have a lot of centre midfielders. We still have Ndombele, we still have Lo Celso, we still have Dele Alli.
Do you see them going, or do you think they'll still be here come the 1st of February?
I bloody hope so, because if we don't get rid of them, we're not bringing anyone in. You only got a 25-man squad. So, yeah, Dele Alli's got to go. Dele Alli's got to go. That's either loan out Lo Celso or Ndombele, and that will create the space in the team. Get another centre mid, get another striker. They're the two main ones. Centre backs.
Can I ask you, what do you think we'll get? What do you think we could get for Dele? Like money wise,
I'd say anything
25, 30.
I was gonna guess 10 to 15, but
I think it's getting to that stage now. Honestly, Colin, I think it's getting to that stage now where you're talking £15 million. It's crazy 4 years ago, but I think it was 27 million last month when Newcastle were interested. He's not done a great deal since, so he's probably half of that, 15 million. Newcastle look like they're in for every Tom, Dick, and Harry, so they don't need to get Dele Alli. I hope he goes. I really, really hope he goes, and I hope he goes permanently. I've got a funny feeling he will. And
I have a feeling he'll actually kind of reignite his career, which is fine. I hope he does. It's just not.
I hope he does. Yeah, I hope he does, but not against us, or really in this league. He can do it abroad. But
no kidding.
Yeah, but Lo Celso, loan him out. Keep Ndombele, see what you can do, because the guy's supremely talented. So just give him another 6 months. See if Conte can do anything with him. Lo Celso will have takers. He definitely will have takers. Italy, Spain, he'll certainly have players who are interested in him. Get a
20
couple
million
out,
is what Chris thinks. Yeah, 20 million is what he...
And then, in the summer, we're definitely going to need 2 centre-backs and a right wing-back. But we could sell Rodon this month, which means we're going to have to get another centre-back in as well. So a lot of it's dependent on who we get out. So much is dependent on who we get out. Tanganga could go out on loan. So we might need 2 centre-backs. There's so much is dependent on who we get out first. It really is.
The Rodon situation is so weird to me.
He plays so well for
what?
his names. Like Tommy's putting like Lo Celso and I think Joe Rodon. For me, I really thought that they will be coming up the ranks and really doing the big thing in Tottenham. I know they've not been consistent enough, but Lo Celso, I think Jose Mourinho kind of had a liking towards Lo Celso. For some reason, he's kind of fallen out. I don't know what's the reason. And Rodon again, I think at the Euros, I think he really showed a lot of promise. So maybe just giving them more game time probably is the option to go because yes, maybe Lo Celso will get in takers, but probably he's the most creative out there, for the midfielder that you have as in right now. So it's kind of surprising because I think I know Lamela did not really play exactly the same role, but whenever he came on, he did something different. And maybe Lo Celso is that kind of player. And I think Tommy also makes a great point about number 10s. Maybe that's the reason because Conte, I remember when he was Chelsea, Oscar was someone that he, found himself way out, right? He was brilliant for us under Jose Mourinho because he's more like a hard worker who has that quality as well. But Conte was more like, okay, he really needs those hardworking midfielders only in midfield and then probably goes up top with maybe 2. And that's his actual preferred way, Lautaro Martinez and Lukaku we saw. So again, I actually, if I was Spurs, I would really want as in Spurs to get a striker proper. I know Son has been fantastic, but I think it doesn't harm, right? Going 3-5-2 and maybe that's something that maybe will also give that extra striker more motivation to start more minutes. Maybe just putting it out there.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the creative player is number 1, and then a striker is number 2 priority. But we'll move on from transfers because there'll be hundreds of Spurs streams from now until the end of January talking about transfers. But let's move on to FA Cup. We've kind of already talked about this, but I don't have a banner for Chelsea's game. Is it Chesterfield you've got?
It's Chesterfield, yes.
Yeah, so do you think your best players there? Because we're obviously talking here as a Spurs stream that this semi-final is a massive game. We haven't won a trophy in however many years. Yeah. But for Chelsea, I get the feeling that if you don't win a trophy in a season, it's a failure of a season. And if you win the FA Cup or League Cup but don't win the League or the Champions League, it's probably a failure as well. So it's a huge game for Chelsea as well. So do you see wholesale changes, vesting, so that players are the team essentially that played on Wednesday are fully fit for the second leg, or do you think he'll half and half?
Well, I think it's more like right now it's a case of about us just having maybe 15, 17 players fit. But for this game in particular, I would like to see some youngsters from the academy come up because yes, at the end of the day, we have lost 2 FA Cup finals back to back, and that doesn't kind of sound right at all. Being Chelsea, trust me. But you're right. I mean, if we don't get those, maybe I would say two trophies. If it's not one of the big trophies, and that's what the normal benchmark is. But yeah, as in we are playing Chesterfield. If I'm not wrong, they are in 5th division, technically speaking, right now. I might be wrong, but yeah, I think that's what I remember. This is a fantastic opportunity to go again 4 at the back because we've not done that at all, until the Spurs game. So for me, again, just in preparation to the Spurs game, in a way, it's more about just a mentality about us having different systems and how we adapt to it. With certain players who were there for the Spurs game, who would play Spurs game, I can see them kind of playing. Like for example, Saul, he's not got a lot of minutes, so I would like to see him. Then again, yes, at the back again we've had a lot of injuries. Thiago Silva obviously is out with COVID, so that kind of gives an opportunity to Malang Sarr. I think Malang Sarr, honestly, he's been kind of underrated because he's come for very important games this season. He's played against Brentford, that game that I'm sure many of you remember that where Mendy was the hero. But Malang Sarr had a fantastic game away to Brentford, and now obviously against Spurs. So for me, Malang Sarr and Saul are 2 players that I would really like to see. Apart from that, it's more like the Harvey Wales and the academy players who really come up the ranks. them, and maybe as in people who are just coming back, maybe from injury, like Werner is just coming back. I know that he kind of comes back. So yes, it kind of becomes a mix of the two, like you said, Chris, because it's more about us not having a lot of players and people coming from injury. But at the end of the day, we've got those matches. I remember against Bradford City, was it again, and Jose Mourinho. We've had those kind of moments as well in the FA Cup. So I wouldn't take any team lightly, and in a way, it's a blessing in disguise. But the system is more that I would like Tuchel to experiment in.
Yeah, I think you mentioned Conte is brilliantly tactical. I think Tuchel is on par as well. I think he's a superb manager. But Colin, for us, is it away to Morecambe or home to Morecambe? I'm not sure. Because if it's away, that could be tricky because they'll be bang up for it. If it's at home,
I think it's at home. Yeah, it's
home. You'd expect us to go through comfortably, but it doesn't always happen like that. And if we have this bad attitude that we've already won this game, that's when upsets happen. But in terms of the team, would you be making wholesale changes, half and half, like Tommy mentioned, or
probably half and half? But I'm afraid. This is going to sound terrible, but I don't trust Dane Scarlett to lead the line. So that puts us in a predicament because, like Tommy said, Kane can't play every game. But I sort of feel like we need him. I don't feel like he and Dane are so different in their play styles. Scarlett doesn't have that hold up play. He doesn't have the ability to pick a pass like Kane does. He's just more he likes to get in behind a little bit more. It seems like to me but we will have to adjust the team to play like that to get the best out of him. And I just don't. I really don't see a way for us to not play Kane in this game, and that's
not for the whole game though. Maybe the last half hour you're talking about, but even then, I'd be furious at that. We shouldn't need him.
But man, I think we do, unfortunately, just because of the state that the team's in right now, and we're all desperate for trophies. The players, the fans, everybody, and so we can't go out of this. And the last thing we want is for it to go to penalties, because we know how that goes. It's I don't really know, man. It's clear to me Sonny needs a rest. Højbjerg needs a rest. And I think you were saying that you don't really understand the flack that Pierre's getting. And I'm with you. I think it's just because he was such a rock and he did so well for us before that any drop off in form, people are going to be,
I think if you're tired, naturally you drop off to a certain extent. I think he's absolutely knackered and mentally as well must be so drained from the Ericsson situation, as well as playing. He must have played about 50 games last year.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right, and he's a leader. He's good to have out there just for that quality alone, for his ability to. Man, I wish he could have helped get everybody's heads up a little bit after that first own goal, because we really just our heads dropped, in that Chelsea match. So. It's Morecambe. I mean, I don't know anything about them. What division? What division are they in?
They're in League One. They're in League One.
They're no mugs, but at home, if it was away from home, I'd be worried. Certainly, if we don't have the right attitude at home, we should be okay. But yeah, I mean, how do you see it, Tommy, in terms of formation? Half and half, full reserve team, which hasn't really served us too well in Europe so far this season. Big hitters on the bench with a reserve team out, or what do you see him going with?
It's really so. I think I have to look at what I want and what I think. What I want is I want to win a trophy, and it looks like we're out of the Carabao Cup. To be honest with you, we're out of the Conference League. We're not winning the Premier League, so FA Cup might be our only avenue. So with that in mind, you don't want to risk having an upset. And at home is actually it can be more problematic playing against these weaker sides because the fans will get on your back. If you haven't going to go up within 20 minutes, they can really get on your back. The home fans start, booing their own team against this level of opposition. But they're only 2 divisions below us. I thought they were in League 2. But having looked it up, they're bottom half. They're 19th, so they're like just outside the relegation zone out of 24. So they're not doing, and they concede a lot of goals, which is perfect for us. Against the teams that are sort of solid and 0-0, 1-1, even if they're losing a lot, but they're losing 2-1, then that can be trouble. But as soon as they have a troublesome defence, then we should be okay. We really should be okay. So I think he'll go half and half. I do think he'll put some first team players out. I really do.
But not Højbjerg, not Son, not Kane. They need vesting, I think.
Højbjerg, no chance. I don't think Højbjerg is going to play. No way.
And I slightly disagree with you as well with Wednesday. Eternally optimistic, which is my downfall, because then it's an even bigger kick in the teeth when we lose. But I don't think we're out of it at all. Like I say, if we go out like a train,
but I think if you was a betting man, if
Chelsea are by far the favourites because they've got a 2-0 lead and fairly solid. But I think if we can have one of these, famous Tottenham Hotspur evening nights and things, then and come out like we did against Arsenal 14 years ago, we can cause Chelsea problems. But
the reality is, if we, as you said, we're the favourites to go out. Overwhelming favourites, I would say, against Chelsea. So then that.
But maybe that will benefit us. Yeah. Do you think as well? This is something I wanted to ask Brian Daigle, but he's presumably not around. Do you think if we did somehow manage to turn it round, that's a bad thing for January, because Levy can then say, well, you can compete with the top teams with what you got?
Yeah, this is a problem. This is always the problem. You almost wishing your own team does badly in January.
Chris Agenbar is sharing your negativity. We're not out of the second leg until the whistle at the start of the match.
No, we're definitely not out of it. I think 2-0. We've got a chance. But if we mess about in the Chelsea game, if we lose, which we'll probably do, if I was a betting man, as I said, then we have some sort of upset against Morecambe, that's it. It's our season done, pretty much, isn't it? Another season of struggle, another season without a trophy. So, and it can happen. We lost to Colchester in League Two. They're in League Two. They took us out. So it can.
That was away from home. That was away from home, though. I think at home we should be okay, and hopefully Morecambe, being that they concede a lot of goals, the occasion might get the better of them in a huge stadium.
But sometimes those players get really excited to play in the huge stadium. You know what I mean? That this is one of the biggest games of their season, and so.
Yeah. So there's no replays, Chris. It's not second. You don't get second legs in FA Cup anyway.
Yeah, I think that's what Chris Agenbar meant. No replays.
No replays.
So I think it must go to extra time and then penalties, or maybe just straight to penalties. I'm not really sure, but.
I think if we draw, they could get. Do you know what? Morecambe can nick a draw in normal time, and then we will be shitting ourselves in extra time, wouldn't we? And the fans,
especially if we got a back line of like.
It'll be flashbacks to Zagreb and Mura.
I mean, it is amazing how far we've fallen. 4 years ago under Prime Poch, we can beat anybody, and now we're worried about Morecambe because of just how far we've fallen. And
to be fair, I would have been worried about Morecambe with Poch too, just because those teams they're kind of unknowns. You know what I mean? It's anything playing these lower league teams is actually kind of frightening, just because, like I said, these guys get so up for it. You know what I mean? They've got a lot to prove. It's a big occasion. I don't know. It just kind of scares me. I would be scared under Poch still.
I can see why we might play Kane and some of the first team players. That's basically what I'm getting at. I can certainly see why under Conte, and he doesn't like to put all the second team in.
And he doesn't like to lose and look stupid. And so you know what I mean. I don't think he'll risk that.
Ankit hasn't got these troubles, has he? Not winning a trophy.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Are you worried about an upset, Ankit, against Chesterfield? Or are you? I don't know if you're away from home or at home, but are you worried about an upset, or are you fairly comfortable? Oh, you're at home. You'll win that easy.
Yeah, but you know what? It's interesting about basically not having replays and having extra time and penalties. So because we all know that Colin said about them having that big day. For them, it's basically World Cup final, right? And a lot of them, especially folks in the 4th, 5th division. So I can certainly see us basically playing against low block, which we haven't done so well. But again, knowing Chelsea recently, as if the team kind of comes at us, it's something that we don't expect and that we can be taken by surprise. So that way as well is something that I can see us conceding, because we might play some youngsters as well. But it's interesting about you guys spoke about if in case you win, then maybe Danny Levy says that okay, it's basically working for you. For me, honestly speaking, even in the second leg, if you win or not, I think Tommy kind of referred to that as well. I think the priority, yes, things have to settle, and Conte needs to basically get the best out of the team. from a Spurs perspective. But come on, as a Spurs fan, I'm pretty sure the priority should be winning a trophy no matter what. And it's again not every season that again no disrespect here, but it's not every season that you're going to get to semis of Carabao Cup as well, right? As in, yes, last season as well, you had a chance, and if not for Daniel Levy and maybe not sacking Jose Mourinho, who knew, right? So those kind of things is something that maybe it'll be too late, maybe 2 years down the line to kind of figure that out. So for me, whatever happens, I think Spurs should go for that win, irrespective of whether Conte gets players or not, because I think, like I said earlier, Conte will get the team going. Yes, he has to be kept happy. That's very important. And one of the ways is by getting him signings. But I think if the team wins, we all know that he'd be happy as well. So it kind of is a double-edged sword. But I rather have, if I was Spurs fan, for Spurs to kind of win. And of course, as a Chelsea fan, and no way that I would like that. But yeah, just putting it.
Yeah, I definitely don't think we're out of it, but it depends on what happens in that first 15 minutes and the attitude that we have in that first 15, 20 minutes. And for as much as for Morecambe, it all comes down to attitude for me. We're obviously better than Morecambe because of the leagues that we're in, but it comes down to attitude. If we have a bad attitude, Morecambe are up for it, like Colin quite rightly says. A lot of teams will be. We'll have issues. But yeah, and Colin's noticed that his sweater is the same colour as the dreams.
I just blend in. I just look like a floating head.
Now that you've said it, all I can see is a face and headphones. I didn't notice that before, but yeah, now you've said it.
That's all. I was like, oh god, whoops. Oh well. Oh well.
But yeah, we've pretty much reached the end. We can talk about transfers and the second leg all day, but we'll just be going over kind of ground. But yeah, it's been great talking to you all. Tommy, who's a regular on here, or semi-regular, and Ankit and Colin, first time on here, been great. Spoken to Colin a lot anyway on other streams. But before we go, Ankit, all four of us here have channels, so hit like, hit subscribe here, and then go into the description. Go on Ankit's, Tommy's, and Colin's. But for anyone who doesn't want to do that and can't be bothered to go into the description, Ankit, tell us a bit about your channel.
Absolutely. Again, thanks for having me. Of course, it's the first time.
No problem. My pleasure.
We'll have a lot more discussion, especially this month, and as in seasons beyond, right? For sure. As in Tommy knows that I love kind of discussing football, beat anyone. But yes, certainly, people watching, first of all, do smash that like and subscribe to Chris's channel. As in, I watch him a lot. It's just that we haven't, kind of got together, on the same platform. Hopefully, we do a lot more. But Almighty Tools FC, like I said earlier, it's basically a fan channel for everyone to see. Yes, definitely, I am a Chelsea fan. If there's a secret, it's not a secret anymore, for sure. But that doesn't mean I don't like other clubs. We kind of respect all the clubs, and we have a lot of other panel, on our channel as well. Tommy's been a couple of times. Hopefully, Chris and Colin do as well in the future. And yes, we have some trivia shows going, so everyone is welcome. And looking forward to the season. That's what I can say. And looking forward, obviously, as a Chelsea fan. And generally as well for the Champions League to come back next month, and that's something that we would cover for sure.
Excellent. Yeah, make sure you hit Ankit's channel, hit the like, hit subscribe on his videos. Tommy, people should know by now, but if people don't know, tell us a bit about your channel, where people can find it.
First, thanks for having me on, and before
my pleasure.
You like to subscribe to anyone, make sure you hit that like for this channel and subscribe if it's like your first time watching or anything. Make sure you hit that sub. It's all free. And the same with Ankit's channel. One of the more unbiased Chelsea fans, so so certainly get over there, give him a sub, and Talking Ball. Currently stuck in a hotel, but he's doing loads of stuff. When you get back to the States, you and Tiago, new co-host. So yeah, make sure you get over to them. And me, Tommy Talks Ball. I released something this morning. I said earlier. So if you've got time, check out the transfer show. My Twitter handle and YouTube name, both Tommy Talks Ball. So yeah, if you could get over and watch that, if you enjoy transfer discussion, it'd be fantastic. As I said, nobody watched it earlier because we are Tottenham wrong. So that'd be helpful. I'm starting to stream a lot more now. I didn't do much over December for numerous reasons, but I'm starting to stream 5-6 times a week now. So that'd be great if you could.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that, but yeah, definitely get over to Tommy Talks Ball, hit like, hit subscribe there. Last but no means least, Colin, like Tommy's mentioned there, probably not a lot happening at the moment, being stuck in a hotel, but tell us a bit about your channel and where people can find that.
Yeah, absolutely. Channel's called Talking Ball. It's just, obviously kind of a play on cock and ball, Spurs. And yeah, it started out and still is kind of just a place for everybody just to get together, almost like you're, at a pub, just hanging with your pals, talking about your team. And like Tommy mentioned, got a new co-host, Thiago, who adds a little bit of structure to things and some direction. It's actually a more of a football channel now instead of just talking
energy drink enthusiasts and cat
right.
Rap is football as well.
Yes, there's all kinds of things.
It's brilliant, man. It's so good.
Thank you. Yeah, and actually, Thiago reached out to me today. I think we're doing a stream tonight. So if you want to just head on over to the channel, Talking Ball, just subscribe, hit the little bell, and you'll be informed whenever we're going live. And like everyone else, I'm on Twitter. My handle's right there, Talking Ball 1. I tweet some random crap, some opinions about, it's the same old stuff, but it's fun and it's cool to support each other. And like Tommy said, it's free and it's great. And Chris, thank you for having me on. These
no problem, my pleasure.
And this lockdown, but thanks again. And everyone, make sure you subscribe to all these wonderful people's channels, everybody out there, because we put our hearts into it. We really do. So
yeah, excellent. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, hit like, hit subscribe here. Go to the description. Go on Ankit's, Tommy's, Colin's. Do the same there. You know the drill. Both Twitter handles and YouTube links for Ankit, Tommy, and Colin up in the description, both for the YouTube stream and the replay and the podcast as well. I'll be back on Monday. I'm back to normal streaming now. So Fridays 12:30, Mondays 8 p.m. Over Christmas, it was all sorts of ad hoc stuff. So even though I didn't know when the streams were coming, they just suddenly turned up. But we're back to normal. Let's hope we can beat Morecambe. A comfortable victory, no dramas. Have players rested, ready for Wednesday, and then we are not out of this. It's going to be really tough. But we are not out of this. If we're the first 15 minutes, go at them like a train, give them something to think about, nick a goal, get it to 2-1, and then game on. So until then, come on, you Spurs.
Levy spin. Levy.
Thank you so much for watching, for everybody who participated in the live chat and added comments. Before you go, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Anybody who couldn't watch the live video, you can still catch us on YouTube. Add any comments, suggestions or questions to the comments section on the video. Anybody who's listened to the audio-only podcast, thank you so much for listening. Anybody who wants the audio-only podcast, you get this wherever you get your podcast from. Alternatively, if you go to Twitter, @Talk Tottenham, you'll find all the information there. We'll be back soon. We're live Mondays, 8 p.m, Fridays, 12:30 UK time. Until then, come on, you Spurs!